They would say like, do the fish face when you apply your blush. And that's what you would do, right? Welcome back everyone. In today's video, we are going to be doing a part 2 of things social media has normalized. So I did part 1 of this video last week and it was so interesting to read so many of your comments. And I honestly don't know if I have posted a video recently that has also gotten me so many DMs. I had people DMing me saying, you know, how much they like the video, which I definitely appreciate, but also saying this is something that I think is normalized now because of social media. So I got so many of those that I decided I wanted to do a part 2, some things that I have thought of and a lot of things that I also saw from your comments and also your DMs. So if you haven't seen part 1, I will link that. And one thing that I want to point out, because I didn't really do this with part 1, is I've been seeing a lot of these videos floating around and a lot of them are very negative on the side of a social media influencer. A lot of the video titles that I'm seeing are social media influencers made this normal. Social media influencers are ruining your life for you and things like that. I was trying to take a perspective in my first video of just saying social media in general. Now, of course, a lot of times when we watch social media, we are watching creators. Of course, there's more than just content creators that are making content for the internet, networks and TV shows and celebrities and all of those things. But I wanted to be very careful because there are some things that I do think just social media, technology, and also just the spotlight on people's lives have made normal and not necessarily just content creators themselves. And I was also trying to come at it with the view of being a content creator and saying like, because I create content, these are now the pressures I feel. Like one of the comments that came in was, it's interesting to see an influencer talk about how they are influenced. And I went into a pretty deep discussion about that one when I was talking about Botox and like not having something like Botox or fillers yet and how that makes me feel being online, showing my bare face, doing skincare routines, doing a get ready with me video, and how I feel I don't quite stack up because it's become quite normalized to have Botox and fillers, especially because women can't seem to age. That was another thing we went into. So I just really appreciate all the good feedback on it. It made me really excited to do a part 2. And the first thing that I want to talk about is actually one that I did get DM'd me because I honestly had not thought of this myself, but when I read the message, I was like, you are so right. When did it become normal to watch women get dressed online? I read this message and I was a little bit taken aback because I was like, wait a second. It really has. The message went on to say like, when you see people doing an outfit of the day, it starts typically with the woman like in a bra and underwear or like in shapewear or something like that. Or another reference that was made was when someone's getting ready to go to the gym, they're like, they're, you know, turned so their back is to the camera, but they're putting their sports bra on. So it's like clearly they don't have anything on, they're putting their sports bra on. And it just says it feels very normal to go online and watch a woman getting fully dressed. And I was like, wow, you're right. And honestly, like I've done that too. I've made those videos too because I've seen the videos. And to me, the more that I've thought about this topic and the more that I've thought about social media in general, is it really feels like when we go to social media, we want to feel like we're a part of someone's life. What better way of feeling a part of someone's life than literally being in the room getting dressed with them? You know what I mean? I saw a video the other day that was like, don't worry about creating content or thinking about how much like exactly what you're going to do while you're making your videos. Just set up your camera when you're doing something regular. You're just getting into your car. You're getting out of your car. Take video clips of that because it just makes people who are watching your videos feel like they're in a normal part of the day with you. And I was like, I should do that. Like instead of sitting down and having, you know, a very perfected video of maybe I'm doing my makeup and telling a story for short form, like I can just stick my phone on the dashboard and show me getting in, getting out, getting in with my grocery bag, getting out at Trader Joe's, things like that. But for some reason, it seems like it has been able to show that people kind of stop and watch and relate because we live in a time of scrolling, constant scrolling, especially with short form. If something doesn't catch your attention within the first, you know, usually 2 seconds, you're going to scroll away. So if you see someone doing an everyday activity, something that is very normal, but now you're privy to it, it makes you want to stop and watch it. And that includes women getting dressed. That one was very fascinating to me. And you know, another thing that I think has become quite normalized, whether I think this is also something that was before social media as well, but is sexualizing women. I mean, again, I think this goes back before social media, but I think social media really exacerbates it as well. But there's so many times where I will post like a swimsuit photo on a platform like Instagram, and the amount of hate comments, I believe there was a photo that I posted in, like, I want to say it was around this time last year, I posted on Instagram that quite literally sent me back to therapy. I hadn't been in therapy. I go on and off to therapy. It literally sent me back to therapy because the comments were so brutal and so hateful towards me. And I didn't even know what to do with myself. Like, I was like absolutely shook. I was like, I'm literally just a 37-year-old woman who has worked very hard to get her health back under track. And the way that my body looks right now is something that I am incredibly proud of because I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into my body. And for me, when I do something like post a swimsuit photo, like I'll put this before and after right here. The before is when I was really struggling before I was diagnosed with PCOS. I was sick all of the time. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't eat, yet I was gaining weight. I felt horrible. I was so fatigued. I had so much brain fog. I didn't know what was going on. And then the after picture, that is after I took control of my life. That is after I decided this isn't normal. And even though I have all these doctors telling me this is what happens when you're a woman in your 30s, I knew something wasn't normal. And I took so much time, energy, effort, and money to figure out what was going on with my health so I could get back to it. So when I post a swimsuit photo like this is me saying how proud I am of my body, because I feel like that is a reflection of my health journey. I made a lot of changes when it came to lifestyle, when it came to diet, when it came to fitness. And that, to me, that like my body is a physical representation of the health journey that I went through, and I am very, very proud of it. To me, I've always talked about when I was going through my health journey, the first changes that I noticed were more internal. My brain fog going away, being able to sleep better at night, not feeling so fatigued and needing to nap every single day. But you can't physically see those changes on me. And so when I first started to talk about my health journey and how I was feeling better, no, I don't want to say that no one seemed to care, but it wasn't there wasn't like much of a response to it. It was like, oh, okay, great, like feeling better. And then when my body started to change, that's when I started getting so many questions of what did you do? What is your routine? What did you change eating? What doctor did you go to? All of those things, because you could physically notice those changes on my body, which is also something I've always thought was very interesting. But the sad part to me is that a woman can do something, like, I don't mean to sound this to sound dramatic, but can be brave enough to post a swimsuit photo on the internet for hundreds and thousands and even millions of people to see and judge her and pick her apart. She is brave enough to do that. And then there are so many other women that are so quick to shut her down. Just today, as I'm filming this, one of my friends competed in a bikini contest recently, and she put up a post on Instagram of her in the bikini and like doing the swimsuit competition. And I said, yes, queen. And I, commented on it. I did a bunch of clapping hands and a bunch of fire emojis, because one of my first thoughts was, I hope she doesn't get hate for this photo. So I want to make sure I leave a comment. I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. Like, how brave are you to do that? Because going back to sexualizing women, if I post a photo in a swimsuit or I post a photo in a certain dress, I am not sexualizing myself. The internet is, or a person viewing a picture. They are the one who is sexualizing the woman. I believe I was listening to a podcast that really went more in depth on this, but when it said like women don't sexualize themselves, others are the ones sexualizing them, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And that really changed a lot of things for me. When I post a photo because I feel confident and I feel brave and I feel secure enough in myself to do that, and I start getting all of these comments sexualizing my body, I'm not the one that did that. Because when, again, my friend posted a bikini picture today, my first thought, I didn't think about her body. I didn't think about her breasts. I didn't think about anything like that. I saw a confident woman and I said, go girl. So I try to remember now when I see comments like that, it's kind of that simple thing of like when people you know, hate on you, you're supposed to be like, okay, well, they're just unhappy in their lives, right? It's kind of the same thing. Like, the hate comments don't really have anything to do with me or anything to do with the photo or anything to do with my body. It's how the other people are perceiving it and what they want to see, and then taking out their anger in their own ways. But going back to the initial comment of like, it's become normal to watch women get dressed online, and it's also very normal to bash confident women online. Whether it's someone posting a woman posting a barefaced photo, a makeup photo even, or a body photo in a swimsuit, a dress, whatever it may be, it's become so normal to tear her down. I just wish it wasn't that way. This was one comment that I saw over and over again, and then I also got this one in my DMs, is having huge fragrance collections. I started seeing these comments roll in, and I was like, oh my goodness, because somehow it's so interesting to me that, you know, beauty YouTube, in my humble opinion, I feel like started to really take off around the 2016 timeframe. And then a lot of people were all of a sudden having big makeup collections. More beauty YouTubers were jumping online, and then we started to have our own big makeup collections. And then you see so many viewers talk about having big makeup collections. And somewhere in the past, like, I almost want to say like 3-4 years, I feel like there's really had a turn where fragrance has become the new darling of the beauty industry. And all of a sudden, all these fragrance videos started coming out. Fragrance channels started coming out. And now so many people that I talk to have huge fragrance collections. And when I saw that, I wanted to mention it in this video, because I almost, not that fragrance is like a new thing, obviously, or even that it's just become popular right now. I think it's always had a time of popularity, but I think in the past several years, it really had a spike in popularity. And I've almost wonder if it's more of just like a trendy thing. Right now, though, I will say I don't think the trending thing is fragrance. I think the trending thing is books. Books are really having its time to shine right now. I've seen, once again, I have seen a lot of even beauty YouTubers starting to talk about books. I've seen new channels and platforms being started related to books. I've seen people starting book clubs, all of those things. All of those things I'm also speaking for by myself, don't get me wrong. But in my own particular journey, I actually started in social media as a book channel. I'm a book blogger, I'm an author, I still write book reviews, still write books, still host book club, all those things. But I feel like books right now are very trending, and it feels like at least once a week I see one person who I'm following for either beauty, fashion, lifestyle, health, whatever it may be, all of a sudden talking about books. And so thinking about fragrance and thinking about books, I just kind of got my mind thinking of like, what is going to be the next trending thing? Because I also think health really became very popularized. I don't know, I'm going to guess maybe 5-6 years ago, just off the top of my head, that's something. But all of a sudden, health became a very like trendy thing to do. And I use that in quotations because, like, as a more health conscious gal, I think like, wow, what a great thing. But there is also cons that come with it. There is also misinformation that comes with it. So it just makes me wonder what the next like thing is going to be that's very trendy. I think fragrance is definitely still very high up there. I think fragrance videos are still very popular. I think purchasing fragrances is still very popular. I myself recently did a video ranking all of my fragrances. And one of the reasons I did that video is because fragrance is still very popular to talk about right now. So when I saw that, that was very interesting to me. And I think it all of a sudden, it did become normal to own, I mean, I'm even saying like 10 plus perfumes. To me, I've always been someone who's had like 1 to 2. And now, sure, I have, probably right now I have like 13, I want to say. I had 10 in my video, but I had just finished up quite a few. And I think maybe I just got like 1 or 2 more. So I think I have 13. Samantha from 8 years ago would be like, why in the world do you have 13 perfumes? Most of my girlfriends who I'm close with that aren't on social media a lot, I'm pretty sure they have 2 to 3. Like, that's it. But I know so many people who consume social media on the regular that have 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 plus fragrances. So just very curious to get your input on that one. Okay, let's talk about a chill one. And that is not making faces when you do your makeup. Okay, so let me explain this one. Oftentimes when I do my makeup, like if I'm just sitting at home doing my makeup, like when I do my mascara, like my mouth is open, I make weird faces. Like when I do like my bronzer and blush, like I'm always like making faces. And I felt like this is like what I was taught by my mom and my grandma, and even like magazines, you know, they would say like do the fish face when you apply your blush. And that's what you would do, right? And like my face just automatically, when I apply mascara, I just automatically am like I can't help it. I was watching myself back while I was editing a video back where I was doing a get ready with me the other day. And there's a time where I'm not saying anything, like I know this part is going to be cut out of the video, I just haven't cut the camera. But I'm applying mascara, so it takes me a while, so I cut it when I'm in editing. But I can watch myself on camera be speaking and saying, okay, this is what I think about the mascara. Then I stop, then I know in my mind, hey, this isn't going to be on camera. My mouth immediately, and I started applying my mascara, and I saw that and I was like, that is so funny to me. But to me, when I do videos where I am just naturally applying my makeup and I'm making those faces, it's like, why are you doing duck lips? Why are you doing a duck face? You look ridiculous when you put makeup on like that. And especially doing YouTube for so long, I have like trained myself that if I'm going to be on camera, I am not going to be making faces, because I was so tired of getting made fun of. And I was like, it's just funny because when I'm home alone and just chilling by myself, like that's how I do my makeup. But it's so different when I do it on camera, because I don't want to get the comments of like, why is your face so weird? I'm like, I don't know. Because Cosmo magazine told me to make a duck face when I apply my blush, and I still do. Why you gotta be mad? I think it's also become so normal to love drama, or not even maybe love drama, but consume drama on the regular. Now, this to me, again, this goes, in my opinion, goes back before social media. Again, I kind of touched on tabloids in the first video and paparazzi and all of those things. But I do feel with the height of reality TV is where this really came into play. And then you saw reality TV slowly spill over, like from the digital age really to the social media age. And, you know, around the time of what, 2016, 17, 18, somewhere in there, like drama channels became a very common term that you would hear on social media. And really kind of these like exposés and the rise and fall and you know, kind of the truth behind this brand or this person. Even today, I feel like it's become very normal. Like there's a handful of content creators whose entire identities and pages and platforms are against other people. I'm trying to like say this in the best way that I can. It's like their whole page is dedicated to hating another content creator, and I'm just like, what a crazy life. Like I had someone call me a positive Polly the other day, which made me laugh, because I do think of myself as a more positive person, and I typically can see any situation in such a positive light, like to the point where I've actually had people tell me it's one of like my downfalls, because I'm not hard enough, or I don't critique enough or things like that, because I have such a positive outlook on life, which I'm like, I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like that's a good thing, but I get what people are saying, maybe. But to me, I'm like, I can't imagine spending every single day being consumed with why I don't like somebody else. Like that, my mind is, that's truly really something that's hard to wrap my mind around. And then of course you have like those real extremes where it's like this one person, their entire platform is dedicated to hating this one person. And then we also have platforms, again, kind of going back to the term drama channels, that's kind of their duty, is to almost be like a tabloid magazine, to report all of the drama that is going on. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying that like drama channels are a bad thing, or channels that go into that. It's almost like they're like reporting the news sometimes, but sometimes the news can get a little bit heavy. And I'm someone who, there was a point in time where I was watching those videos a lot, and I was like, oh, I'm just keeping up with what's happening in the industry. I just want to know what's going on and all of those things. And I was like, this isn't really moving my life anywhere. I would rather be listening to how to start a business, how to invest in my 401k. Like there became a point in time where I was like, I really need to pay attention to what I'm consuming, because what you consume dominates so much of where you put your energy and focus into. And realizing that I was spending so much of my time focusing on other people's drama and lives, I wasn't really focusing on my own. And then when I started to change what I was consuming, all of a sudden I was learning how to invest. I was learning about the stock market. I was learning how to grow my savings account, you know, just different things. I was learning how to start a business. Then I started a business. Like, I don't know if I would have done any of those things if I just would have continued to sit around and consume things that weren't moving my life forward. Now, of course, at the same time, is every minute of every day spent reading like personal growth or listening to, no, I was just on a walk and I was listening to a sports podcast about the Super Bowl and it was funny and I was laughing. Like, yeah, you need to be able to have those. But I do think loving drama and also people realizing that they can make a lot of money off of drama. And that's something that have felt for a long time, but man, I really tried to watch the show about the Mormon wives, the secret lives of Mormon wives. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but one of my friends followed one of the girls on the TikTok real closely and was like, I'm gonna start watching this show. So in solidarity, I was like, I'm gonna try to watch it too, and I couldn't, because to me it was so clearly based on we are famous and we are getting these opportunities and this fame and this notoriety because we treat each other badly and because we're not afraid to go on the internet and like have all this drama and all of these fights. And like, I get it, and how much is scripted, how much is staged, all of those things when it comes to reality TV. But there just really has become a point in our society where causing drama is what's going to make you money. It's going to get you views, it's going to get you opportunities, and that's just, it's kind of a sad thing. But even when I talk to, you know, just some of my friends who aren't on social media a ton or just kind of dabble with it here and there, it seems like the people that they like know and reference are people or pages that are quite known for like bringing the drama and fighting and all of that. And I can even remember years ago, this is when I was still in Iowa, when I would talk to people that I was meeting like at the hairdresser, or even I just remember one at a bowling alley. This is so random, but I remember meeting a girl and she asked what I did, and I said I do YouTube. I was already doing it full time at that point. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, what do you talk about? And I said, beauty. And she goes, oh my gosh, I love Jeffree Star. I love James Charles. And I watched Jaclyn Hill. And she literally named off basically everybody that was involved in Dramageddon. And I was like, huh, because that is what gets the views. That's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the fame. And I just think it's become very normalized to expect to see drama and feuds on your phone, on your computers, on your TV. And that, I guess, as someone who is described as a positive poly, it's kind of a bummer. Definitely always having a new outfit, I think is very normalized. Again, I kind of do feel like this could be before social media time as well, but I feel a pressure of, like, just the other night, I went out to a restaurant and I was wearing a dress, and I wanted to get a photo in a specific spot, and then it just didn't work out, and there was a bunch of people standing in front of it, and I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to get a photo in this restaurant. And I jokingly said to my partner, I was like, oh, but it's okay, because it means I can wear this dress again. Because like, if I didn't get a photo or a video with it, I basically didn't wear it, right? And I was like, why do I think that? But I was talking about this with my friend Ashley as well, like, she was saying that when a wedding is coming up or a trip is coming up, that she feels the urge to buy new. And I think it's because it's just been so normalized of having to have a new outfit every time. And this is something too, I mean, I even see it with, I feel like Kate Middleton has been someone who has been under like actual scrutiny for repeating outfits. And it's like, oh, isn't she royalty? Like, why is she wearing the same outfits again? When the narrative should be like, well, good for her. She spent $200 on that outfit. She should wear it again. And what's so funny to me as I sit here in my sweatpants and come to you on this, I feel like I wear the same like 8 shirts all the time. But I feel pressure when I'm filming. If I'm filming multiple videos in a row, like, I don't know if I know a single YouTuber I'm sure there's one, but I don't know of a single YouTuber that when they batch film, like when they film like 2+ videos a day, they change their outfits on each one. They don't wear the same outfit in every video. And we've talked about that behind the scenes of like, why do we feel that, like, why can't we wear the same shirt in our videos? I will literally go and look at my thumbnails. Like if I go to pull a shirt out of my closet, I'll be like, just wear this in a video recently. I will go back to my YouTube channel and I will look at my thumbnails and I will see if I was in that same shirt. And if I was, then I gotta have a different shirt. I'm like, why? Why are we like this? Because what it really is promoting, of course, is overconsumption and buying a lot. And not only are you spending a lot of money on clothes, etc., but then you also have a lot and then you're getting more cluttered and then your closet is out of control. But I definitely think it's become very normal to have new outfits, to always be showing new outfits, and to not be repeating outfits. Same face, same body. This was one of the main comments and also DMs that I was getting as well, is everybody has the same face. And you know, that's for sure something that I think we've been able to notice over the past few years, especially with procedures or treatments like Botox and fillers becoming quite normal. Like so many people have the same lips, like the same shape of lips, the same fullness of lips. Even something like veneers, like everyone kind of has the same smile, or, you know, like, I don't want to say the same, but like very similar smiles. But even with the procedures that especially mostly women are doing to their face, like it really is kind of like everyone's starting to look the same. But then I've also kind of seen it go to bodies as well. And again, I'm a big proponent of doing whatever you want to do, whatever makes you confident. To me, confidence is what I always go back to. I was talking about this in my first video of like, I don't feel very confident in my face right now. I think this is the year that I'm going to get Botox and all the things because I want to feel more confident. I think, however, especially a woman can feel confident, I'm all about it. If that means surgeries or certain makeup looks or fillers or what have you, like go for it, right? But I've also started to notice with the rise of something like Ozempic, all of a sudden a lot of bodies are starting to look the same. And even a lot of people that I follow on social media, I start to watch their pages and I'm like, wait a second. So I feel like it's not only become normal to have the same face these days, but I think we're moving into the era of same bodies. And that's very interesting to me. And I do think that it's also very normal. I mean, I was at a dinner recently with probably 8 women. There was only 2 of us that do not take Ozempic, and people take it for a variety of reasons. I know I have multiple friends who take it for diabetes and things like that. And again, it goes back to like, I'm not trying to shame anybody here because I'm trying to say whatever makes you feel comfortable and confident, like that's what's most important. But I'm just going back to the fact of it being normal. One thing that I love is I think a lot of people that I talk to are very open to be like, oh yeah, you know, this is what I'm trying and this is why I'm doing this and this is how it's helped me. And I think that's great. And even to share with friends, but I also know a lot of people that are sharing their journey online and saying, you know, this is either why I chose it or what I'm trying to do for my health or whatever it may be. And even the other night I went out with a friend and who very quickly on into dinner was like, oh, I'm doing Ozempic so I don't have as much of an appetite as like you might remember when we used to go out to eat. I'm like, oh, like, okay. Like it really kind of has become a little bit normal to the point where like it doesn't really jar me when I hear someone say it because I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's a pretty like accepted standard thing these days. But going back to everyone having the same face, I again just think we're going to start seeing moving into everyone having the same body, for better for worse. It's just something I'm noticing. I think another thing that has become normalized, and I'm not sure, I think that it's a good thing, it's expecting social media influencers to speak on everything. This was something that I really started to notice around the time of COVID. And I was getting asked a lot of questions of like, what do I think? Or what do I think people should do? Or I should be doing videos telling people what to do. And I was like, why would I do that? I have no education on this. I have no knowledge on this. I have no experience on this. That was really a point where something that I have been able to realize through my social media journey is that people listen to me, and that is something that I take so seriously. I've talked about this in videos before, but I understand that people listen to what I am saying, and I view that as a privilege. And it makes me want to be very careful with things that I say, because I don't want to misspeak. I don't, like, even if I'm not doing it on purpose, it's just I say something because I'm not fully educated on the topic, and then, you know, people listen to me or like run with it, and like if I'm wrong, like I feel horrible about that. I mean, it's definitely happened before. I'm sure it'll happen again. But it makes me be so much more aware of what I'm saying online. And I think one of the ways that I really started to notice this was even through something like using affiliate links. When I talk about products that I love so much and I link them, and then I see how many people are buying those products, like when I look at like something like my Amazon affiliate account, like I was just looking at it the other day, and it's, you know, multiple orders are coming in every day, and people are buying things that I've said that I've loved, not even just this week, but like months ago, and things that are on my favorites list are the best of 2025. People are listening to what I'm saying, and then they're buying the products, or they're trying this makeup look, or they're, you know, trying this healthy habit, or whatever it may be. And to me, that is a lot of responsibility to take on. That's how I look at my platforms, is kind of as a responsibility. To get asked to talk about something like a worldwide pandemic, I was like, I just don't think this is really who we should be looking to for information on what to do. Now, I do understand that there is the point of using your influence to recommend people to look into something. Like for me, like one of my favorite lines is, I hope you do your own research on this, because that is my hope. Don't just listen to me say something. Like if I say something and it sparks something in you, then look into your own research and look it up and see if something is going to work for you or maybe not work for you. So I understand having the influence is also very much a privilege, and being able to use it to speak out on matters. But I do also think that expecting influencers to talk about every single topic that is happening worldwide is kind of wild to me, because again, there's just a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know, that I'm not educated about, and so for me to just sit up and like start spewing things at you, I don't think is the best course of action as well. And something that I relate this topic to is I used to compete in beauty pageants back in the day, and in beauty pageants you pick one platform. And even in the pageants that happen now, they pick one platform, and that is what they talk about, and that is what their focus is. That's what, you know, they're raising money for and they advocate for. They don't have 47 different causes, because that's not normal. You know, I just remember one time talking about breast cancer. My grandmother passed away from breast cancer, and there was one year in October I was talking about breast cancer research, and someone was like, oh, but you don't want to mention prostate cancer? And I'm like, what? Unfortunately, there's a lot of different cancers out there. Like, it feels like we're expected to talk about everything, and we're expected to know everything. And I don't really know when that became normalized, but to me, it was something that really stuck out around the time of COVID. I just don't think that it's normal for one person to be the spokesperson for 100 plus topics of what's going on in the world. The last thing I want to mention, just real quick, I want to slide this one in here real quick. We'll end it. I feel like this one was juicier than part one, which is interesting, but and I don't know if this is necessarily social media made this normal. I actually think the normalcy is in the opposite direction, but something that I do think that has been normalized for many years is women not having periods. Like women being encouraged or expected to go on birth control from a young age for a variety of reasons, including often medical. You know, I went on birth control when I was quite young because I had very bad cramps and acne. So the solution to that was birth control. I want to be very clear in saying, whenever I have this conversation with anybody in real life, I'm always like, I want to be very clear in saying I'm not against birth control, especially in the world that we live in right now. I am not against it. What I am against is women going on something without being educated on it. And the really hard thing when it comes to like women's health is it's often not the most researched, which means not only are we not being educated on it, but sometimes there's not a lot to educate us on because there's not a lot of research. What I think is being normalized is changing that, which I think is great. I love to see it. But one thing that I do think that has become quite normal is women going on birth control, whether it be a birth control pill, whether it be an IUD, something along those lines. And then also not having a period. One thing for me when I was on birth control, when I was younger, I was like, oh, this is great because I can control when my period comes. And if I want to have my period skip a month, I can do that with my birth control pills. I look back and I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing, right? I had no idea because I didn't even really know what a period was. Why did women get it? What did it do? What did it signify? What did it mean? Like, we grew up to be like, periods are the bane of our existence. They're terrible. We don't look forward to them. They're painful. That's how I grew up thinking about periods. And that's what I think a lot of girls grew up thinking about their periods. And as I got older and started to do my own research and I started to look more into this and I actually understood what the body was doing, I was like, very interesting. So again, it goes back to saying, I don't want to say that I don't think anyone should be on birth control or any of those things. I just think it's nice to be informed, especially if you are doing something that could have lasting impacts on your body. And one thing that I get concerned about when women take either like a hormonal birth control and it's causing them to, miss their periods, or doing something like an IUD that's causing them to not have periods anymore, is one thing about our menstrual cycle is that it can actually be one of our first lines of defenses to let us know if something is wrong with our health. There is so many women, including women in my family, including myself, that have realized that something is wrong with our health because of missing periods, extremely heavy and painful periods, something being wrong with our menstrual cycle. And that's what caused us to go into the doctor to say, hey, I just think something might be wrong. Like, I haven't had a period in 3 months, not sure what's going on here. And getting a diagnosis of something quite serious. For me, I tend to get really worried when I hear a woman say like she is on a certain birth control and hasn't had a period in a year, because I think that is a way of telling us if things are working as they should in our body. And when you take that away, maybe there's another sign that you'll see down the line, or hopefully you are doing things like getting pap smears on the regular, getting mammograms on the regular. I just got mine done the other day. I go in every single year for those. Hopefully you're doing stuff like that on the regular. But if not, that really is one of our lines of defense. It's so wild for me to think, even just a few years ago, I really wasn't educated on this topic at all, and now it's something I'm extremely passionate in. But I was someone who was not able to get pregnant for several years. And what was so interesting to me was when I finally went into the doctor and was like, I'm not sure what's going on. Like, we've been trying for so long and I'm just not getting pregnant. Kind of the first thing that they do is to put you on medication. Didn't really look into like what could be happening or why or what is the root cause. It was like, go right into medication. And even now, when I hear women say, like, recently I had a friend who was saying like she was having really terrible periods, very heavy periods, all these things. And she went into the doctor and he said, well, you should go on a birth control. And I was like, I get that sometimes it can be something that can help right in that moment. It's almost kind of like a Band-Aid fix, but it's still, there's a root cause of it. Like something is going on. And it just seems so very normalized to be like birth control, birth control, birth control, where sometimes, again, it can be the answer and it can help and all of those things. I just think the education behind it has been severely lacking. And what I look forward to is seeing how social media is normalizing even just one, talking about a period, because that was always something that was very hush hush when I was younger. But two, about some of the ways of how it can be a good thing. For me, with my PCOS diagnosis, one of the first things that I noticed when my symptoms started to improve was that I got a period back and a regular period back, and also I don't have cramps anymore. I don't have cramps. which is crazy to me because one of the things that we are just like expected to deal with our periods is having cramps. That's actually not normal either. So there's so many things that I have learned in this journey that I'm looking forward to having that be a little bit more of a normalized topic. But I go back to health because there's been times, again, just speaking for myself and some people that I'm very close to, that have realized something was very wrong with them because their period was the first thing giving them a heads up that something was wrong. So that's just one thing that I wanted to touch on, and you know, kind of talking about having a platform and being able to use your voice on things that you are somewhat educated on, or you can encourage people, hey, maybe like look into this a little bit more, do your own research on this one. That's just one that I feel very passionately about. So I wanted to sneak it in here at the end. But after that, those are a few more things that I feel like social media has normalized. I, of course, would love to get your comments down below. I'm looking forward to reading them. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.